Welcome guys to my channel. I'm going to walk you through the inspection of the parts and how to inspect everything, so that way you don't have issues with customers, friends, or if you're doing it for yourselves, so that way you don't have any issues after you rebuild it. So after inspecting the planet, I had already shown you it's really bad. So if you ever see the planet like this, replace it. No good, totally no good. You can't use this one anymore. So this one, I got a rebuild planet. As you can see, no play at all. This is the way it should be. This is a rebuild planet. So we're gonna get rid of this one. And this chain is no good, totally no good. So we're gonna use a new one. We're gonna use a brand new chain. And you can't really tell if the chain is stretched out or not unless you have the new one side by side and compare them. So this is how I check them. This is how I check the chains. Look at the used one, how stretched out it is. So, I mean, I can tell just by looking at it, but if you don't have a new one, if you don't know how they get damaged or how it should be, yeah, you're probably gonna use the original one, and there's no way you can use it. You're gonna have a lot of shaking on the vehicle for sure. All right, so we're gonna replace the chain with the new one. Okay, we're gonna leave it here for now. There you go. And the seals, of course, I have all the seals here. So I have the rear output seal, front output seal, input seal, brand new. So you always replace this one there. So get rid of them, put them aside, so that way, you know, step by step, don't use them anymore. They're about 20 years old, maybe more. All right, case saver, the clip, the factory case saver. This is the one. It was still good, but never use it again. So we're gonna use. I always use this one. I see people using the other one, the aftermarket one, the more expensive one. And to be honest with you, rather use this one. That's exactly the same thing. You don't need to be fancy. It's up to you if you want to use this more expensive one, but it will do the exact same thing. So case saver, we already got rid of that one. We already have the bearings right here. I have new bearings. Front output and input bearing, they're exactly the same. They're not different. So use new ones. Get rid of the old one. And what else? All the sprockets. These sprockets are a little bit damaged. Not too much. You could probably still use them, but I always replace them. I don't know if you can tell that they're already pitted. And if they're already pitted by the chain, you'll have some kind of a grinding noise a little bit. So just replace them with new ones, better. And the washer, this washer, we already have a new one here. So replace the new washer with the new one. There's only one washer in the whole plant, in the whole transfer case, so don't need to worry about mixing out the washers. There's only one. Okay. And that's pretty much inspection of the parts inside. Now we're gonna go with the cases. These cases look very simple, but on the 149 transfer case, it's very complicated. If you don't know how to check it, you can have a lot of problems with this case. So the first thing you check is the plate inside the planet, inside the case. I'm sorry. So this one is actually pretty good. It has very little play, almost nothing. You can hardly tell. But always check it. Always check it. Now, so it gets damaged from here, from the where the upper bearing goes, and it gets damaged from here. Of course, not this particular transfer case. It really does. I never seen a 149 with a hole in it by the pump. But always check it just to be on the safe side. And the most important thing on this case is gonna be a pinhole. A pinhole right here. There's a pinhole right there, and that pinhole, the snapper made that little hole from the inside. So this case, I'd rather not use it. There's too many problems with this case. Too many issues. It's got, you know, the bearing gets loose. The snapper makes a hole. The pump makes a hole here too. and then sometimes the bushing gets stripped out. You can't really use another bushing anymore. So I'd rather replace a brand new case, you know, to be on the safe side. So this is how you check the rear case. How do you inspect the front case? I have a shim kit for the front input bearing. So to check it, you have to install it. You have to put it on and put the snap ring on before installing it to make sure it doesn't have any play. If you didn't check it before, you put the snap ring on and then you put pressure on it and you move it back and forth. This one has a little bit of play, very little, not much. So for that, I can use, I buy shim kits with different thickness. I can probably use one of these just to get my clearance right. So I'm gonna use one of the shims. I can probably use this one since it's not too much, maybe 1,000 or 2,000 thickness. So I'll use one of those shims for the input bearing. And I'm gonna take it out again. Because I have to install the shim on that one. So that's just, and the main problem with the front case is the front output bearing. A lot of people don't know. And they have leakings, they have problems, especially when your vehicle's lifted or it's modified. This bearing right here, it's really loose. You got about, I'll say 3 to 5 thousandths of clearance. There's way too much play on it. Can't use this case no more. Don't even try using it again. So I already went through the rear case, and we're using a new one. The new one comes with all these gadgets, with everything that you need. It comes with the bearing, bushing, the plug for one of the sensors, because this one is actually a universal case. So we're gonna plug one, since the 149 only has one sensor. You're gonna use this one to plug one of the speed sensor holes, and it comes with the clips for the case saver, but we're not gonna use them. We're gonna use the other one. Okay, and so we're gonna use a new case. We're gonna install everything that came on the kit with it, and we're gonna continue with the front case half. Okay, I already showed you how damage you get from the front output bearing. So what I do on these cases, I send them to a machine shop, and I send them a bearing to get the clearance. It has to be precisely cut. So after getting rid of the old case, this is the case we're gonna use. So like I said, I send this case out to a machine shop to precisely put a sleeve in, and this is how your output bearing looks after installing the sleeve on it. See, you can do it on the press. You can just tap it down. It's up to you. You know, I don't want to get too technical. You can just tap it down. It's not gonna damage the bearing at all, because it's pressure, but not too much pressure. So we're gonna install it already. So I can just tap it right here. I can just tap the bearing down, because this one's gonna stay there. It's not gonna move anymore. Okay. Try to tap the outside diameter on the bearing just to be on the safe side, so you don't damage the bearing. There you go. You can hear it when the bearing hits the bottom. So don't overdo it, but you have to put it all the way in. So after installing the bearing, the front output bearing, you put the snap ring in. This is the rebuild case with the new snap ring. Look at, there's no play at all. Very good. Love it. This one it's usually not too bad. I already replaced the bearing, because this one you have to press it in. This one you have to press it in, so you can't tap this one because it's plastic. You'll break it. So this one is already ready to go. It was pretty clean. You don't really have to change the shaft or anything inside. Everything, I already inspected. Everything looks good. If everything looks good, sometimes it's better to leave the factory one, because sometimes the aftermarket ones, they give you a lot of problems. So if you know how to check them, just leave the factory ones on better. This one, they tend to get damaged a lot from here. Sometimes you'll see this blind stripped out completely. I only seen a few, but this one is very healthy. really good. I would definitely use this one. It's brand new. When you put it in, it has no play, very little play, but the splines are still in great shape, so no need to use new ones. Biscuit coupler. Biscuit coupler is a rebuild unit. I send them to the machine shop so they can cut it. I can't show you the inside because they already welded back together. So they check the clearance on the frictions inside because there's frictions inside. And this is the only transfer case that General Motors made with the biscuit coupler. So you're not gonna see any other transfer cases with this part. Only the 149, and it's behind the Cadillac Escalade, all the 1500s, Silverado, Suburban, Sierra, and some other vehicles. The 149, it's a unique transfer case. Very little parts are interchangeable with other transfer cases. This is it, guys. We went through the inspection of the parts, and I'm gonna get ready to put it back together right now. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe.